Hello, ESS crew. It's Kara Lenorvitz, and welcome to week 7 of our second segment of Earth and Space Science. We're going to jump right in with a couple of housekeeping things and then take an overview of the week. So housekeeping-wise, most things are identical this week as they have been in the past. You should be using the weekly learning plan as a guide. One thing that is going to be different this week is because of our discussion-based assessment for Module 7, we will not have our regular Thursday synchronous session. But we will resume them at our regular time next week. So I will plan to see everybody for your discussion-based assessment, but remember on Thursday, because you're doing that extra work, we won't have class. I will, however, continue to be available for office hours at our usual times, Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 10:30, and again on Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m. So please do reach out if you have questions or you want to touch base, or if you want to clarify anything that you're studying right now. In terms of upcoming work, you're going to be getting closer to wrapping up Module 7 this week. You'll take your exam the following week. And this week you're going to start on Module 8. So you're going to be bridging between oceans and the solar system this week. So let's take a look at that new work that's coming your way. Again, you're going to have your discussion-based assessment on Module 7, which is all about oceans. We'll take a look at how and when to schedule that in just a moment. Many of you have already done that scheduling in Canvas Calendar through our class last week. But if you need a reminder of what your appointment time is, or if you need to sign up, I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. In the meantime, even though we haven't fully finished Module 7, you can go ahead and get started on Module 8. It's all ready for you. You're going to start as usual with a pre-test, a pre-assessment. This is to gauge your current understanding of the content we're going to be exploring. Some of it is probably going to be familiar and some of it's probably going to be a little bit new. And that's a great mix if that happens for you. So Module 8 is all about our solar system. So we're going to be leaping from Earth to other places, other planets that are within the same solar system as us. As we're doing this, keep in mind that one of the things that's going on live while we're studying is that NASA, along with United Arab Emirates and China, both have probes that are actively doing research on Mars. So kind of an interesting thing to have happening in parallel. As well, beyond that pretest, you're going to be working on your first part of Module 8, and this one is about the formation of our solar system. It's actually going to cover quite a bit of detail. It's going to cover both the theories about how we think our solar system formed. It's also going to cover how human ideas about our solar system have changed over time and some of the important individuals and their discoveries and explanations that have shifted as we've gathered new evidence. Remember, as we've studied before, that science and scientific theories are based on the best scientific evidence available at the time. And when we develop new technologies, we're often able to collect new evidence, and sometimes that new evidence contradicts our old explanations. So you're going to be wrestling a little bit with the geocentric versus heliocentric model of the solar systems and how that came about through additional evidence. As well, you're going to be studying how we measure distances in space. So when we're talking about distances within our own solar system, they're a little closer than we might use for light years, which we talked about before when we were thinking about the entire universe. Here, we're going to be using measurements called astronomical units, or AUs. They're based on the average distance that Earth is from our star, the sun. So you're going to be converting distances from kilometers, so a distance that you might measure physically on Earth, kilometers or miles. You're going to be converting from kilometers to astronomical units. That also allows us to describe some of the relationships about when and how planets orbit around the sun. So there is a relationship that exists there. The orbits are not perfectly circular. They actually are mostly elliptical. So you're going to be playing around with this relationship here, where the period or the time it takes for a planet to orbit around the sun is related to its astronomical distance away from sun. So you're going to be using both this conversion unit to go between kilometers and astronomical units, and you're going to be using this equation, which relates the period squared being equal to astronomical units cubed. For those of you who have been doing lots of math on the side, this is sort of our first delving in with a lot of math detail. This might feel comfortable. For those of you who haven't used much algebra this year, just to help you out, when we're talking about p squared, that's p times p. And if we're talking about a cubed, that's a times a times a. This week, definitely in our science class, you're going to be doing some math, and absolutely you can and should use a calculator to help you out. It will be helpful if you have a square root function on your calculator. There are calculators that you can use directly online. You can certainly use a scientific calculator on your phone as well. So you'll want to make sure you have that as a helpful tool. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weekly learning plan. All right, so our weekly learning plan is set up the same way that it always is, a short introduction at the beginning just to give you a little bit of context. You're going to see our learning objectives for this week. You'll notice that most of them that are new are falling in Module 8. Reminders about communication and pacing, and then your to-do list. And you really have 3 jobs to accomplish this week. The first one is to get yourself ready for your discussion-based assessment. So you have options about when that assessment happens. There are appointment times available for you on Friday, March 12th. There are also appointment times available on Monday, March 15th. So you need to find a time that will work on one of those 2 dates. To get yourself ready, I'm going to ask that you review the DBA document in advance. It's linked right here in the weekly learning plan, and it'll take you directly to this document here. This one is set up for my A section, but for B and C, it looks very similar. So at the top, you'll see an overview and then the schedule. If your name is not currently on that published schedule, it's because you hadn't yet signed up on the calendar at the time that I published it. So if your name is missing from there, please make sure you follow through and do that scheduling directly on the calendar. I'll show you how to in just a moment. Below that, you're going to see what to expect. So here for you in advance, I'm giving you the questions that we're going to talk about out loud during that discussion. I strongly recommend that you prepare answers to these questions in advance. They're going to take you through each part of the module and the big concepts that are applied there. So make sure you bring those answers that you prepared with you to your DBA. Afterwards, as usual, you have a short reflection to complete. That's going to include showing your answers to one of those questions in writing. And then below that, you're going to see the entire collection of all of the learning objectives from that module. So make sure you take some time to review this, to try and answer those questions for yourself before you come participate in the DBA. In terms of scheduling your DBA time, you're going to go into the Canvas calendar. Your view will be a little bit different than what I'm showing here on the screen because I'm looking at all of my classes. But you'll notice on Friday the 12th and on Monday the 15th, there are appointments that are labeled ESS Module 7 DBA. So if you've not yet scheduled your time, please make sure you select one of those times that has an open slot and reserve your space there. Let's jump back to the weekly learning plan. So that's job number 1. If you can make sure you have your appointment reserved no later than this Wednesday, that will make sure that I have things well prepared for you when I see you on Friday or on the following Monday. The next thing I want to mention to you is Module 8. Reminder again that you can start Module 8 before you've finished Module 7. So it's set up so that you can get right in there. The first job is your pre-assessment. Remember that a pre-assessment is to get a sense of what you already know about some of the content we're going to learn. It is not going to be graded on anything other than effort, so whether complete or incomplete. And then once you've done that, you're going to delve into the formation of the solar system module. Again, this part, definitely make sure you take good notes. This is where you are going to be doing some math work, so make sure that you feel comfortable and confident with that math work. Try out the practice problems as you're going through during the reading so that you have some practice with them, and then you're going to be taking a short quiz on that. Again, for the quiz, a little bit different here. I do want you to use some resources, so please make sure you have a calculator for yourself when you are taking that quiz. And I would encourage you to document your work on paper alongside with working up on the screen. So let's loop back around to what we're doing this week. All right, so in closing, again, 3 jobs this week. You're going to be doing your Module 7 DBA. Make sure you've scheduled your time either on Friday, March 12th or on Monday, March 15th for that to happen. Make sure you're preparing those questions and answers in advance and bringing those with you to your appointment. In the meantime, you can go ahead and start on Module 8. You're going to do your pre-test and your quiz, and a reminder there that you have some math calculation to do, so make sure you have a calculator handy to do that work. Because you're going to be taking your DBA this week, you will not have a synchronous meeting on Thursday. So you have Thursday off as a little bit of additional time to help you get ready for that DBA. And then remember that I am here to help you, so please reach out during office hours or via email if you have questions. I look forward to a great week, and we will see you for your DBA. Take care.